Awesome. Hi. Hello, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us today. On today's episode, we have Julie with us. Julie Sivan. I don't know if I'm butchering it or not, but and that is my best pronunciation.
I always tell people it's Savone, like calzone, but you said it
Oh.
much closer than most people say, like Saivon, or there's some crazy thing that a lot of people say. So you were much closer than the average bear.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Listen, I'm forever butchering it. I give up. I am happy to have you today on our show to be able to walk our guests through our entrepreneurs that listen to the channel about like entrepreneurship, right? I want you to kind of dive in and start telling us about your business, what it is you do, and your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, I was so excited. I know we had our pre-chat and we got to know each other a little bit, and I was very excited to learn more about your show and that it was specifically geared toward entrepreneurs because man, entrepreneurship is hard. I thought that when I started my business, I still think that today. Some days I
Absolutely.
wake up and think like, am I really choosing this?
Yeah.
I started my business. I started becoming an entrepreneur 5 years ago. Is that right? I guess almost six, because it was right around the pandemic, right? And
Mhm.
that started almost 6 years ago, 5.5. So it's been quite a journey. Entrepreneurship wasn't something that was really like presented to me as an opportunity or an option, which is odd because my dad was an entrepreneur. My dad had a really tough life. He really had like the American dream of poverty to success. And but my dad died when I was little, and my dad also didn't have the opportunity to have a full education. Like he didn't get to graduate high school. I don't even know if he finished middle school because he was abandoned by his parents and like had to start working at a really early age to survive. But because he didn't have the opportunity to receive an education, to him, his big priority for his children was like, go get an education, go to
Right.
school, do the thing that I didn't have the opportunity to do. And my mom was very focused on education as well. So my dad died, and, it was me, my mom, and my brother. And it was never even positioned as a thing that you could do of like having your own business. It was always go to school, get a job, right? Have someone else pay you.
Right.
And so I did. I went and I was an attorney and I had someone else pay me. And wow, for so many reasons, that was not aligned, not what I wanted to do. And I heard this woman who I'd been listening to her podcast for quite some time. She said, I'm going to start a coaching certification. Like, do you want to get certified to coach? And it was very intuitive. And I was like, yes, I do. Um, yes, I do. And so I got certified. And the thing about business that I think is hard, especially for people who like are high performers or who excelled really well in school, is like you can get to a business outcome in 70 million different ways.
Mhm.
There's no like in math, it's kind of like if you're not doing this derivative formula, you're not going to get the correct answer in calculus. But
Right.
that's not the way in entrepreneurship. And I think that's my biggest development point of
Mhm.
realizing like I get to find the way that works for me, that feels good for me, that I can get my energy behind, or else none of it doesn't really matter. And from coaching I got into psychedelics, which is what I do now. I'm a psychedelic facilitator. I support people with larger and smaller experiences with psilocybin, like magic mushrooms, and LSD. I've been doing that for 4 years. I love it. I do feel like it's really my life's work, but it's been a journey in entrepreneurship. Like you can love what you do, but building your business might not feel that great.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I 100% get it. Sometimes it just does not feel right.
Mm-mm.
Um, but there's so much wrapped around that. Okay, so the other day I had a guest on the show,
Mhm.
and he was saying he was listening to the channel, but he couldn't quite figure out, even though he's an entrepreneur, how it actually worked and who he actually served and that's because I believe entrepreneurship is so colorful. So we've had so many different guests come on the show, right? And everyone is talking about their journey. And when you hear it, it sounds so different, but at the same time, so relatable. right? And everybody has pretty much the same core functions, right? You're trying to grow your business, right? So you're marketing, you're accounting, you're wearing all the hats. Let me ask you, how does psychedelics fit into this spectrum of making it all work?
I think the biggest thing for entrepreneurship that psychedelics can help us do is cut down the time between ideation and information deluge, like feeling like you're drinking from a fire hose. There's so much information, like there's so many do this, do that, to execution. So at the end of the day, I really do believe any business model can work. Every business model can work. But the problem is most people don't actually get into the true execution phase of the business model because we spend so much time in our head. We spend so much time thinking like it needs to look this way or it has to be perfect or I can't do it. I'm not ready yet. And all of this is a feedback. It's noise. It's chatter in our brain. And what psychedelics do is they quiet the chattering parts of our brain. The chatter parts are referred to as like the default mode network. It's a series of interconnected structures. And fMRI scans show us that psychedelic use decreases blood flow to that parts of our brain. So when our brain stops chattering and we just become present, it's a lot easier to execute, right? It's not like, oh, what if this doesn't work? I'm not ready yet. It doesn't look good. It's not perfect. It's like, oh, I'll try this. I'll take in information, I'll adjust, I'll do it again, right? So that really is the secret sauce to life. It's just simply like making a choice for an action, executing on the action, looking at the feedback, the consequences of the action, learning from it, and then choosing again, taking
Mhm.
another like it's just that over and over again, whether it's business, whether it's dating, whether it's raising a child, like same formula, but we all get really, really stuck and hung up, I see, on the execution piece. That's the
Wow.
biggest gap for most people.
Wow. I can see that. I feel like entrepreneurship sometimes feels like ADHD. And not to minimize someone that has ADHD, but that's what it feels like to me. Because there's so many different pieces, it feels like you're constantly moving in between things. And sometimes you don't have the ability to actually complete that thing before another thought pops in, like, hey, remember you have this other thing to do, right? How okay, well, we're quieting the noise with that, but like, what are some of the other things that it you found it helped you with?
Yeah, so we're quieting the noise that like stops gets us distracted, right? And doing something else, but it's also, man, how confronting is having a business? How often do you think I'm not good enough, I'm not
Right.
worthy, I'm not I have imposter syndrome, right? Something we hear about so often. Well, in the same way can cut down the chatter that helps us just take the step instead of thinking about like, oh, it needs to be perfect. It also cuts down our sort of I like to say Regina Georgine ourselves, right? Like the mean girl in Mean Girls. And our brain can oftentimes be that to us. So when we can kind of tell her to be quiet,
Mm-hmm.
then we have the opportunity to like give ourselves a new thought. And honestly, mindset is a huge piece of the entrepreneurial journey. I really believe like everyone could be an entrepreneur, but not everyone has the mindset required to see themselves through. It's really like we are all ultimately, yes. Is the economy tough right now? Yes. Do people not have as much purchasing power? Yes. Like these are all things that are true, but I guarantee you, I don't care what like other circumstances out there, the thing in here, your mindset, like what you tell yourself, what you believe about yourself is actually the thing that is your own business biggest obstacle. I believe with my whole heart we are our own biggest obstacle. And when
Mm-hmm.
we can learn to get out of our way sooner, we can like then start to actually address these other outside obstacles like purchasing power in the economy and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I do believe you have to have some form of grit. You
Yeah.
have to have grit because you have to be able to stomach a lot, because it's not always going to be easy. What was the pivotal moment for you that made you switch and be like, you know what, I need to look into something else to be able to help me become the best version of me?
It was really when I had like done so much work on myself for my anxiety and depression, which is something I'd always dealt with up until that point, like really ever since my dad died. So I had basically 20 years of undiagnosed depression and anxiety. And I had done therapy. I had taken Prozac. I had gotten coached. Obviously, like my coaching certification was immersive. So not only was I learning the skill, but I was receiving the skill. So it's like I had so much good work that I had been doing. And I was like, why isn't it working? Well, when you get into the research, people with anxiety, with depression, with OCD, PTSD, addiction tendencies, they have really rigid brains, meaning their brains like are very stuck in the patterning that they have always been in. And that's why it's really hard to break things like addiction, like PTSD or OCD, anxiety. Like it's a compulsion. It really is a compulsion, right? It's like my brain is not going to be able to go anywhere else. The ridges, the grooves in our brain are really deep. And that also means like, we look at that little we look at a skier, right? Going down the mountain. Okay, well, if 1,000 other people have gone down the mountain, where is the skier going to go? Like just by nature of physics, you're going to go down the path that is the most well-worn because that's what's available to you. It's really hard to carve your own path when a million people have gone before and all these other grooves are already there. Same thing in our brain. What psychedelics do is it gives us a fresh coat of snow so that we can go down a different path. And it also increases the amount of connections we're making in our brain. So not only can we make a new one, but we can make more of them. And when I realized, hey, it's not me, it's not that I'm not trying hard enough, it's not that I'm broken and can never be fixed. It's that my brain is programmed to work against me. How can I make it work for me? Psychedelics was the answer.
Wow. Awesome. All right. Well, how long did it take before you noticed the change?
I never want to get someone's hopes up. So I always say, like, at the end of the first month, if you're not noticing anything, like, let's talk. But realistically, like, the first week, I noticed, I mean, my anxiety wasn't 100% gone, but I was like, I feel better. I feel better. And then within a few rounds of microdosing, so a round can be anywhere from 30 days to 90 days of following a protocol. I following like a workout schedule, right? I recommend 30 days unless it's very rare if someone has treatment resistant depression or is battling intense like fibromyalgia pain. Those are sort of like two extremes where I say maybe let's do it longer the first time. But you do it 30 days, you take a break for integration, you do it again. So after a few of those, I truly don't have anxiety anymore. I don't have depression, and I was diagnosed with those things in the past.
Wow.
So for it to be totally gone is just like that's invaluable.
It is. It is. Well, you know what? I know we're live and I keep checking to see the comments, and I don't know for whatever reason I'm not seeing them there. I'm going to actually I am going to see if I can drop it in the chat
Oh, okay, cool.
and see their comments there, because I'm like
Yeah, I would love to
I'm
answer.
missing out here. I'm like, all right, let me see what's going on. It's so funny. I was trying to see on the other screen as well. I'm like, okay.
No, that's great. I'd love to know, and I'd love to answer any questions, and I'm totally here for that.
Awesome. It's so awesome trying to go live. And to be honest, I don't go live often.
Oh, well, I'm here that we're live.
Yeah. I don't go often live. A lot of our podcast episodes are pre-recorded, so it's pretty awesome that we're on live now. I just need the link. Can you resend me the link? And then I will
You're not talking to me, right?
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was like, I don't have the link.
I'm talking to our producer right now. I'm just asking her to help send me the
Okay. I was like, no.
Awesome. I'm sharing it with them now. Because when we weren't live, it wasn't when we weren't live, it wasn't live. The link wasn't live. So now that the link is actually live.
Yeah, perfect. But I'm super, happy to answer any questions, happy to explain anything further or dive deeper into anything that people are interested in.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right. So let's continue our chat. So yes, so you went from this attorney, corporate attorney, to where you are now. Okay.
Yeah.
Walk me through what that looked like, because obviously you went to school to do this thing. You're now, okay, this is the path, because entrepreneurship is not a thing. You've already been programmed. Like, listen, that's not a thing. Okay. Walk me through that now.
It was hard. I mean, that was honestly it was so hard to make that identity shift, right? I think that was a big reason that I mean, I did a few different niches in coaching before I got to psychedelics where I feel like I'm really meant to be, but it was also because it wasn't just like you need to learn the skill of coaching and then you need to learn about business, which are both true. Like I really believe good, like the best coaches have a certification. Like you really, it's not just like you can't just do it, right? You need to learn. And I really think you get to learn about business as well. But ultimately, I didn't have the identity of a business owner. And so that was my own biggest like again, we're all our own biggest obstacle, but that was my biggest internal block for a long time because I wasn't used to telling myself what to do, giving myself a schedule, understanding what my like top priorities and tasks are, right? Like when we enter the workforce, most of us are giving like a job title, a role, like KPIs, sort of like expectations and schedule. And I had to do that for myself. And that was just really uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The switch between, working for someone and being your own boss is definitely a huge leap, and there's so much responsibility that comes with that.
Yep.
Now, okay, so now you've gone from this corporate job, you're an attorney, and you switched to doing your own business. How do you market yourself?
Honestly, the only thing, this is so funny. I don't think I have no regrets about how I've spent money in business because I do believe like everything is a learning opportunity, right? And even like investments I made with coaches where it was like, that's not what I wanted or what I thought. I at least learned about the value of honesty, integrity, clear expectations. Like, but the one thing where I do feel like the most like I just threw money away was I paid someone before I even had a clear offer because someone who was like business coaching me told me to. He was his own other story, but to this LinkedIn service where they like would message people on LinkedIn and you would get on calls and like I was selling more like leadership coaching or executive coaching, right? And I did that for like 6 months. And man, I got nothing out of. I mean, I guess I did like talk to a lot of people. I learned to talk to people. I felt more comfortable. Now we're having this conversation. I'm like finding the silver lining in it. I do feel like I got really comfortable speaking to people um on Zoom, but I closed zero sales. I had no sales experience, right? Like having sales training is so valuable and understanding how to sell someone, but that was definitely the biggest thing where I was like, this was a waste of my time. And also LinkedIn is not my jam. Like I am on Instagram. I talk about psychedelics, like I'm not going to go on Instagram and be like the 5 lessons you can blah, blah, blah. Or on LinkedIn. And I don't really love Facebook, but I've tried it too. I think it's really important. Here, you can grow a business anywhere, but it's like, what are you excited about? If you, and I do, dread every time you have to like log on to LinkedIn, then why would you go market on LinkedIn, right? Like find the thing that works for you. And I know there are people here who like love LinkedIn, who love Facebook, who love TikTok. And
Right.
that's awesome. You've honored your own knowing as you
Mm.
should. But again, there is no one way that works for everyone. And my business has grown very organically from making content on Instagram, having conversations with my followers and the people who engage with my content, and then now referrals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Agreed. And thank you everybody for joining the chat. We were trying to get everybody on and trying to like do the thing because we're saying, okay, live is definitely not my thing, but I'm stepping out there. I'm doing it live more, because most of the podcasts are pre-recorded. So if anyone has any questions or wants to ask anything for Julie, she is definitely the go-to, right? To learn about how to psychedelics, how they affect your brain, how it helps. Yep. And how she's used it to grow her business in terms of being able to quiet her mind. I'm just giving them a quick recap for everybody
Yeah.
that's
And
currently on now.
I'm happy to answer any questions and share my experience, but I will say the only things that I feel like I can speak about with like more accuracy in the facts are psilocybin and LSD. But I know I've experienced other plant medicines. If people have other questions about other ones, I'm happy to talk about my experience. But I will only talk about things that I know about. So if you really want to get into like the nitty gritty of science and that application, then those are my two areas of expertise, and everything else is just personal opinion.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. But yeah, so the switch in the mindset, of course, that I'm gonna be a business owner and this is my thing. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to put my best foot forward. Was it really, was it really the psychedelics that was able to take you over the hump of that imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I really think imposter syndrome is just an issue of confidence, and you don't have confidence because you haven't done enough. So I'm going to come back to what I said at the very beginning. It's like when we can close our execution time, when we're not constantly sitting and like, I can't do it yet because I don't like, it's not perfect. I don't have enough information. I don't, it's not right. And you can just do it. You're building confidence, you're building the reps, and then the imposter syndrome or whatever it is goes away. So yeah, it was the thing that allowed me to like execute enough to where I felt confident in doing whatever, to now feel like it's not a question. Like, yeah, I own a business. I run a business. I'm no one. It took me a long time to let go of someone saying like, what do you do? Oh, I'm an attorney. I never even think about it. I've never hey, I'm an attorney anymore. I'm like, I've my own business. I do psychedelic facilitation. I'm a coach. Like, these are all things that I naturally say because I feel them, because I've done them, because I put in the time at the, metaphorical gym.
Right, right, right. And how is it? Do you practice anymore, or are you like 100? Oh, you're 100% in.
Yeah, no. The
Wow.
back door is like, this is actually my JD, and I do put it up there for credibility. But no, I don't practice. I don't want to practice. People are like, oh, like you'll go back to it. I won't. Haven't practiced in years. I have no desire. I'm 100% in my business.
Wow, that is awesome. That is awesome. I love that you said that. Okay, so remember earlier in the conversation, we were talking about not being able to just like hone in and focus. For me, I have multiple avenues, multiple businesses, multiple streams of revenue. Why? Because there are multiple things that I enjoy. For example, I do this podcast, and then we do marketing and automation and all the things, right? My question is, what made you actually like say, hey, listen, I'm just going to lock in on this one thing, and that's the one thing I'm going to lock in for this period? And did you give yourself a time frame to say, hey, listen, if it doesn't work within this time frame, then I'm out?
I gave myself a monetary time frame because I had savings from being a lawyer, but the thing that made me lock in was that it worked. Like,
Mhm.
for anyone who has anxiety or depression or has experienced some mental health, I know that only those people can get it when I say to not have those things anymore is like, it's worth everything, right? And I was at a round table, like VIP mastermind weekend with my coach, and we were talking about pricing and like, how much would you pay for this? And this one woman was talking about like my work and what I do and what I help people with. And she was like, I'd pay you like $10,000 a month if I'm struggling with anxiety and I don't have to have that anymore. Like, that's worth infinite amount to me because mental health is so like crushing. And I don't charge $10,000 a month, but I was like, yeah, that's a great point. Like, if you struggle with mental health, to not have to struggle with it anymore is invaluable.
Mhm. It's funny how anxiety goes underneath the term of mental health, when I believe we all have anxiety. No, I'm not speaking for everyone, but I mean, most people I come across, that's just a word we use. Hey, I'm having anxiety about this thing or anxiety about that thing. It's very common, especially when you're doing business and you're trying to make ends meet, and you're having anxiety about, hey, listen, I'm doing this thing every day. I'm putting in these reps, but I'm not seeing the scale or the growth that I want.
Well,
Right.
I think you made a great distinction, right? There's a distinction between saying, like, I'm experiencing anxiety about a slow month in business versus I am anxious, like,
Mm.
about everything. And, like, it impedes my life. Like, yeah, do I still sometimes have anxious moments? Of course, because that's a normal human emotion, but it's not a pervasive thing that like encumbers me in any way. My anxiety, like for instance, I had an off day on Monday and I very rarely have them. I had a day where I was just like, man, I don't feel good. I'm not here for this. I don't like it. But the thing I realized is like I don't really have them because my mindset is so strong. Like I don't want to say I'm invincible, but it's like, I mean, SEAL Team 6 is guarding my mindset, like I'm really good about it. And so I had this one day and I was like, hey, one day in years is nothing compared to day. And I thought about it. It was every day for me as an attorney. So like I don't care. I'll take that one day. Bring it on. It was just a reminder of how far I've come.
Awesome.
I saw a little question pop up.
Yep. Paulo is asking, what misconceptions do people often have about microdosing and plant medicine? That's a great
Microdosing in
question.
particular, that's a great question. Thank you, Paula. The microdosing in particular is people I don't think really get that when you're microdosing, it is totally below the level of your awareness, meaning it's truly subperceptual. So you can drive a car, you can raise your kids, you can go to work, you can operate heavy machinery. It impairs you less than a glass of wine or a Benadryl or a gummy. Like you're not supposed to feel it, but what you notice is like you are responding instead of reacting. Someone cuts you off in traffic, they must really need to get somewhere. Your kid is having a tantrum. You can stay emotionally regulated for them to observe how to stay in that space. You're teaching them emotional maturity and stabilization. Like it's these little things that are, I call them sparkles throughout your day. It's not like, oh my God, there's a caterpillar over there smoking hookah. Like it's not that at all. And then I think for plant medicine generally, it's that plant medicine is like scary. It's going to scramble your brains or melt your face off. Like that's all government propaganda that we have been fed about psychedelics that is not true. So, psychedelics generally, that they're dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Microdosing specifically, that it's incapacitating you in any way.
Wow. Wow. I love that. I love that. And I always like to ask for some insights,
Mm-hmm.
right? So for anybody switching careers or thinking of even switching between what they're doing as in one entrepreneurial journey, what are some tips that you think would be very useful for them?
I'm glad that I created a safety net for myself. Like I love when people go all in on themselves. And I think it is important like to stay in your other job as long as possible so that you're not like I say there's a sweet spot of discomfort, right? There is discomfort that is growth producing, it's regenerative. There is no discomfort where no growth happens, but then there's dread. And that's actually where you get nervous system dysregulation. It's like working out at the gym. I come back to the gym all the time because that's such a good example. But there's a point where you're like feeling the burn. You know, you're doing your reps, you're lifting heavy, you're creating new muscle tissue. If you're lifting like 5 pound weights, you know, and you can easily lift 20, you're not really, nothing's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you can lift, like, try to lift 100 pounds and tear your labrum. Okay, these are all three different, very different experiences, right? I think entrepreneurs thrive when they can be in a sweet spot of discomfort where there's pressure, you're feeling the burn, but it's good. If you have no pressure and you have like no deadline, you're like, well, I'm just going to kind of do this for forever, then you're probably never going to get anywhere with your business. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're saying, I'm going all in on myself, I'm quitting my job today, and I am living paycheck to paycheck, it's like, I would not do that. And I'm all about like dream big, follow your intuition, follow your heart, but like math is the path as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And if you had to go back in time and give yourself some tools, right? You're giving yourself a tool and you're giving yourself advice. A, what would the tool be and what would the advice be?
No one's ever asked me this question. That's really cool. Okay. I was going to give myself advice and then give myself a tool. Honestly, I would have given myself the tool of microdosing because when I started coaching, I didn't know about microdosing. And I can't imagine like how much I would have gotten from the coaching certification if I'd been microdosing during it. And the advice that I would give myself is, you know, I really deeply trust myself. Like I don't need to text a bunch of people asking like what should I do? I don't need to like ask a coach for a bunch of advice. Although I do get like strategy and like larger things, right? But like I deeply trust myself and if something doesn't feel good to me, I don't do it. And I was so seeking everyone's opinion back in the day. Like, "Oh, well he texted me this. How should I respond?" Or I don't know how to message this person back on Instagram. And it's just like, you're really outsourcing a lot of your power. Guidance is
Ooh,
internal. I am powerful. Trust yourself.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today? Well, we're on the hot seat.
Yeah. You know, if someone's listening to this and they're really like, I don't know about microdosing and some of the stuff she sounded interesting, but I don't know. I don't feel certain about anything. Okay, cool. Come find me on Instagram. My name is Julie Savone, JulieCyvonne. DM me the word journey. It won't even be me. It's ManyChat. ManyChat will send you a quiz. You can take this 1-minute quiz and just find out whether or not it's a good path for you. It'll tell you it's like a not a fit, it might be a fit, or it's a great fit. So there's like 3 different options. There's a quick video after it. If you want to talk to me, message me. I will be happy to talk to you. But if you're like, I just want to take this quiz, DM me the word journey and it'll send it right to you.
Can they do it quietly? So let's say, for example, they're interested, but they don't want to specifically. Can they just be like, okay, I just want to try, but I don't want to go through the whole process? Is there a thing, or do you have to specifically like meet and go through the whole?
Well, I have programs that are like very much DIY that like they can do on their own for
Okay.
sure. But I'm going to be completely honest. I don't offer it just like you want to just like, just kind of do it because you're not going to get any benefit out of it. Like it's like working out, you can buy a day pass at the gym and go do that, but you're not going to like suddenly have a butt, like
Mhm.
you can't microdose for a day and think, oh my God, my mental health is going to be fixed. That's not how it works. There is no magic pill. There is no magic pill. I should get it tattooed on my forehead, but yeah, so I mean, you can, but I'm not the person to ask about that because I don't support it because I know it doesn't work.
Love it, love it, love it. So you're all about like real, consistent growth
Change. Yeah.
and change. Yep, love it. Julie, it was a pleasure to have you on.
Yes, thank you so much for having me in here. It was cool to go live with you.
Yeah, it was
I really
cool
appreciate
to
your
have
time.
you. Absolutely, absolutely. Everybody listening, if you want all the information, this will also be posted on our YouTube channel, and all of her information will be there. So you can definitely contact Julie and learn more about what she does, learn about her business. All her links will be there and her many chat so that you can get access to the quiz. Right? So I appreciate all of you. Have a wonderful rest of your day.